Guess what, guys? It's episode 350, so we're recording this live from the Maldives since we're going to talk about Maldives Honeymoon launch strategies, plus all the latest updates with what we've been doing in Project X and Project 5K. I'm coming at you live from a restaurant here in the Waldorf Astoria that's on a treetop. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Serious Sellers Podcast by Helium 10. I am your host, Bradley Sutton, and this is the show that's a completely BS-free, unscripted, and unrehearsed, organic conversation about serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the Amazon or Walmart world. And as we do every 50 episodes, we record it right here live in the Maldives so we can talk about the latest Maldives strategies that's going to help you out in your Amazon business. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, so I couldn't record this in the tree restaurant that I did the intro in because it was raining, and that's like literally out in the open. So we are back here at my actual room here at the Waldorf Astoria. And shout out to them if you guys didn't see. They had, I recorded the different episodes here in the Maldives, which I call the Maldives Honeymoon episodes, and they already know who we are here. So like when I got here, they had prepared these not pastries, but like kind of like chocolates, and they did some design where they actually have the Helium 10 logo in there. I didn't even tell them. And so that's just like, shout out to the Waldorf Astoria Maldives. This place is amazing. Anyways, guys, if this is the first time you're listening to one of these Maldives specials, let me give you the quick history. We started this back in episode 200 of the podcast, and we called it the Maldives Honeymoon Special. And at that time, it was strictly about this newish kind of launch method that I was talking about. And, it was based on the honeymoon strategy, taking advantage of the Amazon honeymoon kind of period, but then like making it on steroids, that's why I said Maldives. I Googled like what is the most incredible honeymoon experience out there, and it was Maldives. So I was like, let me just call it this. It's not some official term or anything like that. But every 50 episodes since then, I've been doing updates on it, where I also give updates to everything that's been going on Project X and Project 5K and what we can learn about it. Because remember, guys, I'm selling on Amazon just like you guys are. Unfortunately, I can only spend like about 5 hours a week on it, but I got to keep my knowledge fresh, and I got to share with you guys everything that I've learned from all of my different experiments. So, Maldives methodology has kind of, taken on new meaning. It's not just about that initial launch, but it's just about a broader view of it is what are the biggest bang for your buck things that you can do to have a long lasting effect on your listing. It's kind of like a marriage. Like you want to start it off great, you like have an amazing honeymoon, right? And where's a better honeymoon than the Maldives? But at the same time, you want to have a good bang for your buck too. And that's why I actually picked the Waldorf Astoria. This is a $2,500 a night place I'm staying in. I don't pay at all because I use my points from the Hilton American Express card, which is what I use for all my PPC. So I'm getting some amazing bang for my buck here, regardless if this is a honeymoon or not. Now, we're not going to knock other honeymoons out there, you married couples who didn't get to go to the Maldives. Both times I got married, I did not go on a honeymoon. So, we're not trying to like take this analogy to the next level and diss everybody who can't go to the Maldives. But again, the point is that what are some amazing things that you can do to your listing to help you get ahead with a head start or a great restart? Like I said, I've been married twice, so like, hey, what's a good restart that you can do, a second honeymoon as it were? And then also, I've kind of broadened this to just not just be about like your keyword launch strategy or other strategy, but like your mindset. Like how do you set yourself up for success in business in general? I call that having the Maldives effect, and that's actually what I'm going to be talking about at the Sell and Scale Summit this September. It's going to be about Maldives launch strategy, but it's also about like Maldives honeymooning your mindset so that you can be set up for success. Because so many times people are so data driven, which is important. You have to be data driven in this business, but then they forget about how to set themselves up for success as far as the mindset goes. So I'll be talking about that on stage at the Sell and Scale Summit. If you guys want more information on that, again, make sure to go to h10.me/S3, h10.me/S3. You can get $100 off to register for that. It's not just me talking. Kevin King will be there, Gary V, Nelly's going to be performing. We're going to have a whole bunch of amazing speakers there. So if you want to save $100 off your ticket to Sell and Scale Summit, make sure to use the code S3BS100. S3 BS, Bradley Sutton, 100. All right, guys, let's go ahead and talk then about what has been going on. I'm going to start this off with a bang. Give you guys some new information. We talked about this in the Helium 10 Elite Facebook group a few weeks ago. That's where I usually break my discoveries first with that small group of people. I haven't really seen it talked about much out there, so I just thought I'd go ahead and talk about it here on the podcast. The first thing is there's new fields in Amazon in many categories that are now required that you fill out, and these weren't required before, and you won't be able to even edit your listing in Seller Central unless you fill out these fields. You know, some of them have to do with the box quantity, the country of origin, and the fabric type. It's a whole bunch of like new things that are now required. Like it's in red. Like you can't change your images in Seller Central. You can't change nothing unless you fill these categories out. So make sure to fill those categories out. Now, if you're just like, I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that, but if you're feeling lazy or you just don't want to have to go into Seller Central, but you still want to make updates to your listing as far as like title, bullet points, description, search terms, things like that. If you're using Helium 10 Listing Builder, you can still edit your listing there and then sync it without having to change those fields. So we're kind of like overriding that block that Amazon is putting in Listing Builder. So there's just a little bit of information for you guys. If you're having trouble editing your listing, that might be why you haven't filled out these new fields. Another thing, in many categories now, like the home and kitchen category, search terms are no more. The back end search terms, as far as what it's called being search terms, it is no longer there. What shows up in your listing now, that whole keyword section, that tab, you know how there's different tabs when you edit your listing? That whole thing is gone. What used to be search terms, and if you had search terms there, it's now in the details, the product details tab of your listing. That's where like your bullet points and description go. Now you're going to see something. Instead of calling it search terms or back-end search terms, it's now called generic keyword. All right, so check your listing out. A lot of categories this has happened. There's some categories where it still hasn't. I imagine eventually it's going to be across the board. Usually Amazon does these big-time listing changes like category by category. The categories I'm seeing it in so far are like the home and kitchen categories. Now, if you're still using Listing Builder and you're trying to sync it, I mean, by the time you're listening to this, we might have changed the label, but if you see search terms in Listing Builder and you sync your listing, it'll still go ahead and syncs to that generic keyword section. Now, here's something that's interesting. You know, as of right now, you know, maybe this is just the algorithm trying to refresh itself. Very interesting. Half of the keywords, like in the Project X and Project 5K listings that are in that home and kitchen category, half of the keywords in the search terms are no longer indexed, which is crazy. They used to be all indexed. Half of them are no longer indexed. You know, now, why that's the case, you know, who knows? Does this mean that the back-end search terms or generic keywords in general are now less kind of impactful on the algorithm? I'm definitely going to have to do some testing on that, all right? Now, one thing you might be wondering is, you know, subject matter has been gone for a long time for many, many listings. And now there's not even a keyword section in some of these categories. So does that Listing Builder trick still work where you can put subject matter into your listing from Listing Builder and then upload it to Amazon when you sync it without even having subject matter in the back end of your listing? And the answer is yes. I did a test on it where I had some keywords that was not indexed for. Now it's interesting. These are keywords that I had in the search terms. I did this on one of the coffin shelves. These are keywords that were in the search terms, and these are part of those half of the keywords that were not indexed anymore. I took some of those keywords, put it into Listing Builder, into subject matter, uploaded it. Within 5 minutes, boom goes the dynamite. It was indexed. So again, subject matter, it looks like in most categories, you're still able to use that Listing Builder trick, and it even gets you indexed, whereas search terms does not. Now, in the back end of these home and kitchen categories, there's some new kind of like categories or fields there that I hadn't seen before. Maybe they've been there, I just hadn't noticed it before. But some of these are recommended uses for products. All right, recommended uses for products. I did some testing. This field, don't worry too much about it as far as indexing goes. The keywords that I stuck in there did not get indexed. However, another new keyword field is called special features. Special features. I hadn't seen this before. Maybe you guys did. but I put in more keywords in special features from those keywords that were in search terms that didn't get indexed, put them into this new field called special features, and then again, index in 5 minutes for those keywords. So there's some more real estate that you guys can use to get indexed for more keywords should you need it. All right, let's talk, before we get into some launch strategy, let's talk about some of the results from, this has been since November, since we did episode 300. Now we're at 350. So let me give you an update on Project X and Project 5K for Q4 of last year and Q1 of this year. Now, Project 5K, Q4 last year, we did $170,000 gross sales. I had 4 main private label brands in there. One of them did 60K, one did 30K, another 20, and another 10K. That 10K are mainly those straws, and those were that one. That's the original Project 5K, how we launched 12 different products for a total of $5,000. Some birds behind me making a lot of noise. Anyways, here, the rest of it was from wholesale on that account. Now, Q1 of this year was only $100,000. All right, so sales went way down in Q1 for Project 5K, and it was mainly wholesale driving that. The private label brands in Project 5K, they only did 15,000, 17,000, 6,000, and 9,000. So private label on that account was very low. Now, one of the reasons are 2 of the products were out of stock almost the entire Q1, the 2 main sellers of those private label brands. Maybe you guys had a similar experience, but I just got slammed with the shipping delays, like absolutely slammed. Like there was a PO that I dropped in late November and I didn't get it until April. That's how long it took to ship and how long it took to get ready. So those shipping things really, really killed me. Maybe that happened to you guys. I definitely should have planned a little bit better on that. All right, now switching over to Project X. Q4 last year did $70,000. Obviously, that's 100% private label. Our 2 brands, Manny's Mysterious Oddities and Gee's Chicken Coop. Q1 of this year. Now, here, this is just an eye opener, guys. Let me just talk about Q1 last year. We did $66,000. Q1 this year, $20,000. So sales on Project X took a nosedive, and it wasn't even like we were out of stock on that many products or anything like that, like we were on Project 5K. So especially the coffin shelf, that was the biggest loser in Q1 compared to last year. I think we went from selling 1,500 units to only 300 units. Now, some of it's due to increased competition. But it's just we lost a lot of momentum. So one of these things I talked about before, that killed momentum is somebody on the Helium 10 team accidentally, killed our main PPC campaign for a month, and I didn't know about it. And so after that, things were never the same. Sales took a nosedive because that PPC campaign was off. But then even when I turned it back on or started it again, I never was able to recoup that momentum. So guys, if you've got a product, again, that is at least 2 years old, don't do anything that's going to kill the momentum or take your foot off the gas. If you've been doing PPC campaigns, if you've been doing outside traffic, don't just stop and think that you're at the top of the category, because there's something going on with Amazon that I've seen, and other people like Casey Goss have talked about. They call it the Amazon death spiral, where if you take your foot off the gas, sometimes Amazon never gives you your momentum back. All right. In Q4 last year, we actually launched a few products for Project X, a new one. For Gee's Chicken Coop, we launched a stackable egg rack. I wanted to do something. This was something actually I was doing a live demo, and we were looking on Etsy, and this product seemed to have some momentum on Etsy, where instead of just one egg tray, you have these egg racks, and you can stack them up as high as you want. They kind of interlock with each other. So it seemed like it was good on Etsy. So I was like, hey, this kind of goes along with our brand. Let's go ahead and throw this up there. And so we did, and it did pretty well. It did pretty well. We actually sold out of it before I could restock it. And so I'm very happy with that launch. Another one, I've talked about this before, how we found it. We were looking at the Amazon Product Opportunity Explorer. And one thing that I love about the Product Opportunity Explorer, and this kind of ties into Maldives Honeymoon launch, is trying to find keywords that have a buyer intent, but obvious signs that people are not finding what they are looking for. So what signifies demand first of all, for the keyword. World search volume, all right? So, we have that in Helium 10. But what Product Opportunity Explorer takes it to a next level, it tells you what's the conversion rate over the last 360 days of a keyword. And so if you look at the coffin shelf niche, a lot of the keywords in there like coffin shelf and coffin decor and things like that, they had like about a 3 to 6% conversion rate, which is, not that great, but it's pretty standard for that niche, right? That means out of every 100 searches for coffin shelf, there's about 4 people who actually end up buying something immediately after that search. But then we saw this keyword coffin bookshelf, right? And it had a 0.6 conversion rate, 0.6%, meaning out of every 100 searches for this keyword, not even one person would buy a product. And so to me, that was interesting. I was like, well, what's going on here that there is not many people finding what they want? So I searched for it just physically online. And sure enough, when you typed in coffin bookshelf before, of course, there's 300 listings that show up, but right there on page 1, there was not one coffin bookshelf. There's a whole bunch of coffin shelves, but none of them are big enough for a book. So that just put the light bulbs off, and it's like ding, 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 ding. All right, well, look at this. First of all, there was a very low title density for that keyword. In other words, there was not one listing on page 1 that had that keyword in the title because there were no coffin bookshelves. All right, that's part of the Maldives Honeymoon strategy, is looking for keywords with a low title density score for page 1 that has a lot of demand. But number 2, if you can find listings where there's no relevant, literally 0 relevant products on page 1, that is a great opportunity if there is search demand. Now, there was not a lot of searches for large coffin shelf or coffin bookshelf. We're talking like 1,000 to 1,500, but still, that's 1,500. That's 1,500 searches, and we would have been the only one. So we quickly launched a product that was huge, a huge coffin shelf compared to our original one, and we put books in the main image. Launched that in Q4, sold out even before Christmas. I mean, sold out in a matter of weeks. So that was kind of proof of concept there. And that's to be something that you guys can do when you're looking for product research, tying in that Maldives methodology with product research, even before the launch, right? So that was what we launched there in Project X. And unfortunately, we were out of stock of that for 4 months after Christmas because we just could not get it in time. Now, how did we launched that keyword? All right, so that product, we actually used AZ Rank. Now you might be wondering, hey, AZ Rank, isn't that search, find, buy, and that's not allowed on Amazon? That's absolutely correct. But AZ Rank, as soon as Amazon put the kibosh, they're like, all right, fine, we're not going to do search, find, buy anymore. We're going to turn this into product surveys and giving you actually an extra level of looking for what your buyer's intent and what your buyers are interested in. So AZ Rank kind of completely changed their business model over there. And so we use this to launch this coffin bookshelf, to relaunch this, I should say, after the second time. The first time we actually did it the traditional way because that was when search, find, buy was still okay. But the second time, remember, like I said, we were out of stock for 3 months. The second time we had to relaunch it, we used AZ Rank, but their new methodology. So the way that we did it was, we gave users a list of different keywords that we thought were the most relevant, and then asked them, hey, which keyword would you use? Or maybe it's not even one of the above keywords. Which keyword would you use to find this product? And you showed them the picture of the product, and then you have them pick, or they would choose to pick either coffin bookshelf or large coffin shelf, or they would just give you some completely random keyword that a few of them said gothic bookshelf. And then in addition to that, for our main keywords that we wanted to do research on, like coffin bookshelf and even coffin shelf, because we got sales on that, we had them do market research. So AZ Rank is using their customer base, and they're asking them these questions. All right, look at coffin shelf and tell us what you like about these results, and what do you like, is there something, an image here that makes you stop your scroll? What about our image compared to others? What about our features? It goes way in depth. It's almost kind of think using Helium 10 Audience or PickFu combined with, market research. And that's the kind of information we're getting. Now, with that, guys, we got to, after 6 days, we got to top 5 for coffin shelf keyword, which is the main keyword in the niche. We got to page 1, position 1 in 6 days for coffin bookshelf. all through this new kind of launching that AZ Rank had, where you're not just doing search, find, buy and telling people to search for this keyword and find it, but you're just letting the customers choose their own adventure, as it were. Like, hey, how would you find this keyword, and then let us know the market research on this, which is within terms of service. All right, so hats off to AZ Rank for kind of like being able to change their business model to keep within terms of service there. Now, for one thing to note, the single large coffin shelf we made, profit is almost break even. Like, it is just super, super hard. We have that as a price point of like, I think it's like $53. And because of the size of it, it's just really hard to break even because of the shipping cost to get it here, and then the FBA fees that Amazon is charging. Interestingly enough, we're selling also as a variation. And this is another thing for you guys out there when you're launching products. Another way, we have a variation of that in the same listing for that large coffin shelf and the small coffin shelf. So what I did was, I was like, look at this large coffin shelf. I was like, let me make the middle shelf removable. Hope you guys can picture that. Just think of the coffin shelf and the middle shelf removable. And then, first of all, being removable is cool in itself for people who want to just have like a big coffin shaped box, right? So that's like cool in itself, a cool feature that the regular coffin shelves didn't have. But by making it removable, now I could put our regular Project X coffin shelf inside of the big bookshelf, coffin bookshelf, and ship it together in the same exact size box as the large coffin shelf. So we're like, let's go ahead and launch a different SKU of a coffin shelf combo, the large one and the small one. Now it's the same exact box. And so even though I'm only charging something like $63 for the combo, whereas the by itself, the regular one is like $54, we are making about 15% more profit than the single one by itself. All right, so there's a lesson for you guys that of how you can maybe get around some like shipping problems is if you have a larger product, what else can you throw in there? You can increase the price, and then the customer is getting more bang for the buck, but you're actually the one who's making more profit. Another thing we did before was we had launched in the past pink and purple coffin shelves. And back in the day, there was like hardly any coffin shelves. So we actually had them all as standalone listings. And then what we did was we were running traffic to all three of those listings. But now, page one on coffin shelf was so kind of saturated, we decided to combine those listings. So Lem, here at Evangelist, here at Helium 10, he combined all three of those listings into a variation. And then actually, interestingly enough, the pink and purple sales went up because now they were all getting some visibility from the black coffin shelves, search position right there, their keyword rank. Another lesson from Project X is make sure to have your alerts on and activated, and that you're checking it. The egg tray, the original egg tray from Project X, sales were dead, and I never even was checking. What happened was it got adult product classification, and I didn't even realize it. I looked in alerts. Sure enough, like 2 months ago, it told me, hey, this product was marked adult. I didn't do anything. I've launched 2 different cases right now with Seller Central, and they still haven't taken it off, even though they keep saying they're going to take it off the adult product classification. So guys, make sure alerts are turned on all of your products if you have Helium 10, and then be checking your alerts. I had it turned on. That was the first half, but I wasn't checking my alerts, so I didn't even know that we lost sales because we got classified as an adult product. All right, going to Project 5K. Straws, again, that was the original products line that we had started with this. They started blowing up. We've been selling more straws than ever. For example, there was one color of straws. I had a SKU that was a 50 straw SKU. So I was like, you know what? I want to come out with 150 straw of this same exact SKU, right? Now, here's the thing. I decided to use a different method of launch for this. I was like, let me take this as a standalone listing first. So I'm not going to make it a variation. I'm going to take this 150 straws and I'm going to make it a standalone listing so I can take advantage of its own honeymoon period, right? Because if it was on another listing, I'm not going to get that much of a honeymoon period. So I started it off by itself. I knew all of the keywords that were driving the most sales for the 50 straw listing. So what I did was I created a using the new Maldives launch method that I talked about in episode 301 of the podcast, where I take the 10 keywords that I think are going to drive me to sales and I want to try and get to page 1, and I did a PPC campaign on these 10 keywords that I knew were driving sales to the 50 keyword or the 50 straw variation, and I put a super high bid to make sure that I was coming up at the top. Now, I didn't get traction on all 10 of those keywords. However, that being said, the number one keyword, let's just say these were purple straws, all right? It's not purple straws, but let's just say it was purple straws. Purple straws would have been my main keyword, right? On that one, I got to page 1, position 2. And again, part of the Maldives method of launch is your target main keyword should be in phrase form in your title, preferably without many other people having your title. If it was a purple straw, again, which it's not, that purple straw keyword was exactly in the title, and sure enough, I got to page 1. The second keyword, I got page 1, position 8. Now, this also has to do with the Maldives method, is when you're launching on keywords, try and do variations of each other. So let's say the main keyword is purple straws, which is in the title, but your second keyword, which maybe also is in the title, is purple straws decor or something like that. Well, if I'm sending traffic either via PPC or whatever to both of those keywords at once, the momentum is feeding off of each other when there's activity on purple straws and then there's activity on purple straws decor. So that's what I did on this one. That one I got to the top of page 1 as well. Another keyword, which is the actual most search volume on this, is 10,000. That purple straws keyword is only like 2,000 search volume, but there's this other keyword that I always got a lot of traction for, and you would think it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with this product. It would be like if it's purple straws and then the keyword is Barney party decor. I mean, you can kind of think, well, I know what purple straws would be relevant to Barney party decor, but that Barney party decor obviously means a whole bunch of other things, mainly Barney things and stuff like that. But from day one of this listing, I saw another straw getting sales off of this keyword. That's why I've always concentrate on it. Well, anyways, that keyword, obviously it's not going to be a brand name. I didn't put Barney in it because this is not purple straws, but I'm just using an example here. But that keyword I had in the title, and even though it had 10,000 searches, and I only sold 5 units via PPC. 5 units via PPC, and I got to page 1, position 1. Page 1, position 1, after only 5 sales. Again, combining that Maldives method, and there was a lot of buyer intent for that keyword for my kind of product. Another keyword, I only got 1 sale on PPC. 1 sale on PPC. 1,700 search volume took me to page 1, position 7. So the Maldives strategies we talked about in 301, guys, still working nowadays. What did I do once I got to page 1 for all these keywords? Well, at that point, I combined the listings into a variation where now it says 50 straws or 150 straws, and then hoping that my original listing can now take advantage of the bumped up keyword rank of that original one, and then now the new one, that it would keep its momentum going because now it has all of the reviews of that first listing. So again, this was just a strategy that I used, and it worked great. And we've been selling hundreds and hundreds of these straws. Again, we're not making a lot of money on this. When you're talking about $7, $8 products, you're not making much money. But this is just fun for me. It's just fun for me to work on these kind of products and just see what the algorithm does, and show that, hey, even if you don't have a lot of money, if you want to start selling small on Amazon, you absolutely can with products like this. One product that I had in one of the accounts, there was a keyword wasn't ranking for. And then I put this keyword in the title. I just wanted to see if that part of the Maldives worked. Sure enough, within days, page 1, position 1. All right. I'm not trying to say, guys, go changing your title all the time. Amazon doesn't really like that. This is one I had never changed the title on, and it was a very slight change. It already had the one word. I just added another word after it. And then that newly formed 2-word phrase got to page 1, position 1 right away on that. Another listing, I tested if the canonical still works as far as that trick that we talk about where you change the first 5 words and then put a dash. It still did. One of them it did work. Well, it changed within 24 hours. Another one, it never changed. So I actually opened up a case with Seller Central and said, hey guys, can you change the canonical URL to this? And they changed it for me. So those 2 things I tested recently and are still working. Another project or product in 5K, I discontinued, but I relaunched it. All right. So what happened was, it was like a candle, and this candle had a lot of wicks. And what happened was the first batch, I didn't have it inspected well enough, and they were missing a lot of wicks. So the original listings got a lot of bad reviews because of that. So instead of relaunching once I ran out of stock on that same listing, I just started from scratch on a new listing, and it did okay. It did much better than if I would have tried to launch it on that SKU or relaunch on that SKU that already had only 3 stars out of 5. Another thing, there was a product I was out of stock. One of the main products on one of my Project 5K accounts, I was out of stock for 4 stinking months. All right, so I wanted to relaunch with a bang, and I went to AZ Rank and did that same thing that I did with that coffin bookshelf, where I wanted to do some like heavy market research and just have the people pick what keywords they were going to they wanted to use to search for this. Sure enough, the main 3 of the main keywords that I use this like product or this market research systemology that they have now, every single one, page 1, position 1 for all 3 of the main keywords on this relaunch. So that to me is part of the Maldives strategy, because again, I had these keywords in the title, and I was getting some market research out of this. A couple of the products that I relaunched, I could tell at the end of Q4, hey, shipping prices are going out of control. All right. Out of control. So a lot of these products I have in Project 5K are similar to Project X in that, like, like the coffin shelves in Project X are kind of bigger. These products are kind of bigger. So what I did was I actually shaved like 2-3 inches off on each side. And that allowed me to keep the price the same while many sellers were raising their price. And it allowed me to keep the price the same, but I was able to keep my same profit margins, even though the shipping prices went up, because I was able to save money shipping it to the US, and I was able to save money in Amazon FBA. Now, here's the thing. With Amazon FBA, I launched on the same SKU, so it still had the old dimensions there. So what I had to do was wait till I got like a few weeks of sales, and then I submitted to them, hey, please do a remeasurement of these, because you guys are charging me the wrong one. So I'm going to get my money back on that one. So I did that on 2 different products successfully, where I was like, you know what? If I shave a few inches off here or there, it's not going to like mean less sales for me, but it's going to mean a lot more profit savings for me. Now, here's one thing that I wanted to talk about that's I'm definitely going to probably have some case study information on for the next episode, maybe episode 400 of the podcast. And this is about a new company called PressX, and they're doing some interesting work. I'm not even sure if it's going to be available yet to the public, but PressX.live is the name of the company, and I took a look at some of their case studies that they did, and what it has to do is like these news articles getting out there about a product, and you're getting like all this subscribe and save activity, and you're also getting sales increases because you're just organically, your keyword ranks are going up just by this outside traffic. So one of their case studies is it was in the beauty products niche, and I'm looking here at the information. They did a publication in the Daily Mall. The Daily Mall is a big online publication, and they had a $10,000 budget. Now, hold on. You might be thinking, $10,000 budget? That is ridiculous. So now, this $10,000 budget was over 6 months. All right, now it doesn't sound so much, right? And they got 6,667 clicks out of this. So I mean, that's not that many. Cost per click is not that much, considering that this is a $10,000 budget, and they got almost 7,000 clicks. All right. Now here's some of the results. The BSR went from 2,900 down to 470, and there was even a time when BSR was down to 9 in the beauty category. So it just blew up because of these press releases. They got 500 new subscribe and save orders from this campaign. That is huge. If your product is something that is replenishable, like beauty or grocery or health and household, that is huge to get 500 new subscriptions. Sales growth average was 50% up. Before, they were doing 100 orders a day, so it was already selling pretty well. And then now the sales went to 146 a day. They had one day sale of $60,000. And then again, the organic rank improved significantly. It's not because they were doing two-step URLs or search, find, buy or anything. It's just organic traction because of this outside traffic that Amazon loves. They did another case study in the beauty category. Also, the publication was a Daily Mall. They only did 8,000 budget spent, and it was about 5,000 clicks. And it's still going on. And BSR went from 4,600 down to 1,800. And they had a 25% sales growth average. It was about 82 sales a day before, and now it's 100 sales a day. And they even had a $10,000 a day. And again, their keyword ranks have increased. So this is like something that I definitely want to keep my eye on because, again, for me, the Maldives methodology is not just about using one tactic, but it's about a whole bunch of things put together. And if I can get a great head start, just like if a marriage can get on a great head start with an awesome honeymoon, like in the Maldives, well, if I can do this press release and have that give me a boost when I'm getting started, or even if I have a mature listing and I can still get another boost, almost like renewing your wedding vows, if we're going to keep this analogy going, well, shoot, this is something I want to try. So guys, probably by episode 400, I'll have done a couple of these, and let's definitely, see how it's going. These are long-term case studies. It's not something that, hey, get to page 1 in 4 days. As you saw from those, one of them was like 3 months and one of them was like 6 months long. But I definitely want to see how it's going. A couple other things I did for Project X and Project 5K. I wanted to try different shipping methods. So you guys probably saw in the Seller Solutions Hub, which is our used to be called Trusted Partner Directory in Helium 10. You can find it at hub.helium10.com. I used the shipping company Forsket. Really cool. No knock on my sourcing agent who normally handles my shipments, but I don't have much visibility on what's going on. Like, I just have to ask her in WeChat, like, hey, did you ship it yet? Where's it at? Where's my shipment? Where is it going to be? With Forsket, it's pretty cool because, like, you know when they pick it up from the factory, when it gets loaded on a ship, when it leaves China, when it hits, the U.S. shores, when it gets unloaded to the warehouse, when it's going to get to you. It's really cool, the amount of information you get. I'm going to do a little mini blog about it, showing you guys screenshots and things, but check them out, guys. Forsket, they're in hub.helium10.com. Just look at the shipping companies, but really happy with the service that they gave. I know a lot of you guys are always looking for shipping companies. I did also tried a different inspection too, and this is another one from the serious sellers, the Seller Solutions Hub. It's called Zoom Inspect. They did a great job inspecting one of my shipments, really detailed report. So I love trying out and giving props to these companies in our Solutions Hub. And so guys, make sure that if you have somebody that you use that you definitely recommend, make sure to recommend them to the Seller Solutions Hub at hub.helium10.com. And then if you see one that you've used in there and had a good experience or a bad experience, make sure to leave a review. If you're a Helium 10 member, you can actually leave verified reviews in our Seller Solutions Hub. So to make sure that, if there's like a bad player that got into our hub and a lot of people leave bad reviews because they're kind of shady, well, we want to know about it. So make sure to leave reviews, either positive or negative. Just make sure they're honest reviews, obviously, of our hub. And if you guys are looking for other, service providers or agencies on things that Helium 10 doesn't provide, we've got it there in that hub. So anyways, guys, that's it for this episode 350. Again, shout out to the Waldorf Astoria here in the Maldives for hosting me again for now the third time. The other time I went to the Conrad, but this year is my favorite hotel here in the Maldives. If any of you guys are getting married and want to have a cool honeymoon, make sure to come out here. This is the best way to do it. And again, like I said, guys, Maldives methodology when it comes to Amazon and stuff that I'm talking about, it's about launch. It's about doing things that set you off on the having your best foot forward. It's about your mentality and getting the best bang for your buck. And it's about setting yourself up for success. So again, that's a made up word that we've done here, but I wanted to actually eventually have some meaning for you guys. So it's just something that you can go back to, and then you ask yourself, like, hey, this thing that I'm doing on Amazon, my launch, my keyword research, is it going to have the Maldives effect? Is this really going to set me off on the best foot forward and make something that's going to be memorable for me? Is my mindset going to be in a way where it's going to set me up for success? That part of things I didn't talk much about today, but remember, I'm going to be talking about that at the Sail and Scale Summit in September. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's amazing that we have been now through 350 episodes. I appreciate every one of you guys. Don't forget, leave a review on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.